Hockey is back, and we're coming at you live on this Sunnyside Summer Thursday. This is CHGO Blackhawks. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois MedCard holders. I'm Jay Zawoski. That's Greg Boyson. Joey is here. Mario is back at Fifth Third Arena. He will be sending in, hopefully, some videos and photos and stuff from Luke Richardson, who is speaking, and a bunch of the other festivities that have gone on today. But the most important thing is the Blackhawks are back. Training camp is open. Nick Foligno is officially the captain, and hockey is here.
Yes, the offseason is now officially over. Debates are over. Hockey has started. It was awesome to be back at practice, at camp, see all the new players. Some guys made some good first impressions. Some guys are in mid-season form, and that's not a good thing. It's good. A great morning, a great afternoon, and hey, it's summer was fun. Too effing long, and it's time to get back to work. Not only for them, but for us too.
For us especially, yes. We ran into Rockford GM Mark Bernard. Oh, hang on, I dropped that name. Let me. Yeah, and he was talking to us like, "Hey, you guys have a good summer?" And we all sort of said, "Too long, way too long of a summer."
And he told us a story about going to Pittsburgh in the back of an 18-wheeler flatbed with his minor league team.
Yes,
because their bus broke down.
Amazing.
He's like, "Oh, I got all kinds of stories. You could have had me on." I was like, "Bernie, you should have told us this."
Yes.
Coming next August, Mark Bernard, every day for 4 weeks.
100%. The Bernard Hour. It's going to be fun.
It'll be far more entertaining than anything we can do.
100%. Do us a favor before we get into all the details of today's training camp. Smash the like button to welcome hockey back. Smash the like button to fast forward the preseason to the regular season. All those things you need to do. Just hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well. And podcast listeners, make sure you are following or subscribed on your favorite podcast apps, and a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you've not left us one of those yet, please do. They are extremely valuable in the podcast world. So I was absolutely delighted today as we sit down on our perches at Fifth Third Arena, and you go, there's referees here. They're going to scrimmage.
Yes.
Greg, it moved. I was so excited to watch actual, seeing the guys back, watching drills is one thing, but you had 2 NHL-ish rosters scrimmaging right off the hop. It was a perfect way to welcome hockey back.
Yeah, it was really cool. 25-minute scrimmage. Not everybody, but it was Group A and Group B scrimmaging together. I wonder if maybe Group C will scrimmage tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
Please.
start every practice like that. It was fun. We had the white team won 3-1. It was Teuvo Teravainen, your guy, Sammy Savoie, and Craig Smith scoring for the white team, and Nick Lardis, a greasy goal from in front of the net.
Yes,
was the only goal for
the Frank Nazar rebound.
Yeah, so some good stuff, fun. Again, it's scrimmage. They're not they're not trying that hard. They're trying hard, but it's not full speed hockey.
Right.
There's no checking, very little. But that was a great way to start training camp as opposed to just now we're going to skate in a circle.
Hey,
for 20
I'm
minutes.
sure they were excited about it too. I've been listening.
I've been practicing for 3-4 weeks already at the Fifth Third.
Yes.
They're ready.
Yes, and I listened to the 85 podcast with Cole Kmet. Comes out every week right here on CHGO, and he was talking about how big of a drag training camp can be, and those guys were excited to find out they were scrimmaging.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah, let's get it going right away. Hey, let's get some chemistry going.
Luke said it at the exit interviews last spring, I've got to change some things to practice. I got to make it a little more intense and get guys ready for games. And what's more intense than before you do anything, get out there and try and beat each other's ass up and down the ice.
That's right. Okay, Mario wrote about the line combinations today for allchgo.com. That is out right now. Go check that out. Here's what they rolled out. And again, there's 3 groups of teams. It's one scrimmage. It's one practice, but it can be fun to discuss the lines that we got to see. So Bedard was with Taylor Hall and Tyler Bertuzzi. Kurashev was centering Reichel and Teravainen. Dickinson, and this was Group C, by the way, so this group was not in a scrimmage, was centering Foligno and Mikheyev. Athanasiou was centering Maroon and Craig Smith. Nazar was centering Lardis and Doc. Donato was centering Slaggert and Anderson. So again, these obviously will not be the lines when the season begins, but who stood out to you today? And there's one guy I think got both of our attention, and is a guy we've talked about very little this offseason. I thought Craig Smith looked freaking awesome.
He did. He looked a lot faster than I like. You see Craig Smith, and you're like, oh, he played with Nashville all those years. He's a fourth-line grinder. Dude was like the 3rd fastest guy on the ice. Like, he was noticeable.
He scored, a bar down snipe too. Like, damn,
that goal was an awesome goal. I mean, it was on Mitchell Weeks, so like, you know, but it was still a great shot. Saw the right corner was open and just, you know, as Joel Quinville used to say, where Mama used to keep the peanut butter, top shelf, great goal. But he was, even before that that goal, he was noticeable. He was a lot quicker, a lot faster. He was winning one-on-one races to pucks. He was, you know, getting the puck out from the boards. Like, I was like, okay, that's not, you know, not seeing him every day and just knowing how his role, but a much more skilled player than I've ever given him credit for. Again, it's one scrimmage in training camp, but that was encouraging to see.
Well, and Windy City Hockey says, so Smith isn't a plug, which I always thought of him as. I think, like, plugs change from team to team, right? So a guy who's a plug on the Dallas Stars, right, and a plug on the Dallas Stars is going to be a better player in Chicago. And, like, that was sort of the theme I had today, was just looking around practice. The team is better. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, the drills are snappier. It looks more like hockey is supposed to look, even in one day, because you're replacing, like, Jacob Magna and Jared Tenorti with TJ Brody. No one's going to mistake TJ Brody for Nick Lidstrom. Don't get me wrong. But TJ Brody is an everyday NHL defenseman, even on a good team, right? Like, Alec Martinez, who had a couple turnovers today, forced by Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall looked really good too, by the way. That is an everyday, maybe at this point in his career, 3 out of every 4, whatever it might be, NHL defenseman. These are not guys who, if you squint really hard, maybe, just maybe, he's a 6 or a 7 on a bad team.
Alec Martinez is a 3-time Stanley Cup champion defenseman.
Yes.
Not a 1-time Calder Cup winning champ, who's got 500 AHL games over his career. These are guys that have been there, done that before at the downside of their career, but on the decline Alec Martinez is a huge upgrade from in their prime Jacob Megna.
Well, and even up front, instead of Colin Blackwell and Mackenzie Entwistle, you've got Pat Maroon and Craig Smith. Again, guys who have played for a long time, but are regular, no doubt NHL players. And Pat Maroon, that guy is a unit, man.
He is going to be a fan favorite quickly.
I already love him. He's a big dude and he wears 77. That's 2 ways into my heart, but
he is a semi-truck.
But he's not. He is not without skill and ability. There were a couple shifts during the scrimmage where Pat Maroon would get the puck and people couldn't get it from him. People were just bouncing off of him, and not comparing to Marian Hossa, but the way Marian Hossa was able to use his size and strength to keep people away, Pat Maroon sort of has that ability too. He's not going to deke you out of your skates. He's not going to blow past you on a breakaway, but if he's got the puck, he's going to make it tough for you to get it away from him.
And here's another difference between a guy like that and guys we had on the roster last year. Your Reese Johnson, McKenzie, Entwistles. Those are try-hard guys. You respect them. They play hard
Sure.
But guys like Pat Maroon, Craig Smith, they just know where to be. They've done it long enough to where what they lack in skill, like dynamic skill, they make up for in smarts.
Exactly.
I can make up for Pat Maroon will make up for not being the fleet of foot by knowing where to be on the ice when the puck is in his own zone. Like, I just, kind of like, back in the day, people used to criticize Ryan Sandberg because he never got his uniform dirty. Didn't have to because he was always in the right spot. So you can look like a much better defensive player just by being smart and knowing where you're supposed to be. Being in your position 99% of the time is going to make you look like a better defensive player than chasing the player around the zone half the time. And we saw so much of that last season where, lines would get hemmed in and just, run around chasing pucks, and they'd be in their own zone for 90 seconds. I think we're going to see a lot less of that this year because you have guys that just know where to be on the ice and are smarter. The hockey IQ of this team has probably doubled in one off season.
Yeah. BJD asked any word on Mikheyev. Again, he was in Group C, which just practiced. Right. But the speed is evident. The shot is evident. I'm looking forward to see how he looks in a scrimmage. But he looked
fast guy. I like it.
He looked good. Yeah. Like there were no.
95 is going to be a really cool number on the ice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, and someone in the chat said, like, we got to wait till the regular season to make call. Like, I know, but what we have to work with right now is 2 hours of training camp hockey. It's what we've seen so far. We got to do this 5 times a week. So we're going to tell you what we saw today. That's what we saw today. And again, like somebody asked about Frank Nazar. How did Frank Nazar look? Frank Nazar looked good. Frank Nazar is a good player.
Frank Nazar, though, had one of them teachable moments.
Yeah, he tried one of those.
Flutter a backhand pass from the right-hand boards across the middle of the ice, and Jay and I kind of leaned back and we're like, this ain't college no more, kid. That ain't going to work here. So hopefully when he got back to the bench, they were like, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
That usually ends up as a puck in the back of your own net.
Well, I mean,
it's not those fair state out there anymore, sure. Frankie. You got to... Yeah, but those are learning. Those are things you learn the hard way more times than not.
But the skill is evident. Again, getting the assist on the Lardis goal from a shot he created, and just the skill. Being able and willing to control and keep the puck along the boards. And those mistakes you're talking about, we saw Connor Bedard make those many times last year in the course of a game. Like, okay, that worked in Regina. It's not going to work in Chicago. I'm not going to be able to make a pass from the left point to the right corner behind the goal line without anyone getting to it. And those are the lessons learned that come with playing time, whether for Nazar, it's in Rockford or Chicago, remains to be seen, but that pass ain't going to work in Rockford either. So, but he'll get those notes, and I'd rather have a guy play aggressively and confidently and be told, no. Like, we see what you're trying to do. That will not work here. Someone's going to deflect that out of the air and take it the other way. Than a guy who's playing scared and afraid to make a mistake. That's the worst thing.
Yeah, like mistakes happen with young players. Mistakes happen with veteran players. It's learning from those mistakes that are key. And mistakes are forgivable. Making the same mistake over and over again, that's where you get, okay, what are we doing here? So a teachable moment early on for Mr. Nazar. We'll see how often he tries to pull that move off. Hopefully only when it works.
I wouldn't think, that'd be great. Mario, by the way, right now is sending in the full Luke Richardson press conference, so we will turn that around for you as quickly as we can. I'm not going to spoil anything, but looking at some of the quotes here, interesting. Seems like a different vibe around the team this year. He'll have updates on Levshinov and Brossois' injuries. Tell you his philosophy coming into practice and all those sort of things. We're also going to discuss in the second half of the show what Kyle Davidson and Nick Foligno had to say today at Nick Foligno's captaincy press conference. If you haven't done it yet, please do us a favor and smash that like button. We see more people watching than usual, which is great. That means hockey is here. So please get in the habit, if you're with us here on YouTube, of hitting that like button for us. And if you've not already done so, subscribe to the YouTube page as well. And again, if you like the podcast, subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast app. So we're going to come back with a whole bunch more hockey conversation on CHGO Blackhawks. But first, we got to remind everybody that beginning October 1st, the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox will have a new home introducing the Chicago Sports Network, CHSN. CHSN will broadcast more than 300 live games per year across the Hawks, Bulls, and Sox, and will feature a full lineup of original Chicago-focused sports content. They're also Chicago-based, Chicago-built, and Chicago to the core.
Chicago package.
Chicago. They're bringing it to every corner of Chicago across our 77 neighborhoods and beyond. At CHSN, Chicago comes first. Visit chsn.com for more info on how to watch the Bulls, Hawks, and Sox all season long.
Speaking about things that are all Chicago, is there anything more iconic Chicago than the Empire brand?
No.
We all grew up watching those commercials. So with Empire today, you get to shop. You get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire today is the best place to get new flooring. So of course they have copycats. We know what that's like, but Empire can't be beaten on quality, service, speed. So competitors advertise low quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire won't promise the lowest prices. Weird. But because everyone else is trying to put flooring in your home that they just won't put in theirs. They keep shopping for floors simple with curated product selection, and what makes them best is they have their own virtual floor designer. That's a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. Just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your own room without even leaving your house. Plus, they service their own warranties. If an issue does arise, just call Empire. They service all warranties themselves. You won't have to track down a manufacturer's phone number or get any kind of runaround. So schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive $350 off when they use the promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/CHGO for details.
Anthony asks, any updates on CHSN streaming platforms, or is it still antenna and DirecTV? It is also AT&T Uverse and over the air. That's the antenna Anthony's referring to. However, tomorrow at 2:30, if you don't know, we're going to welcome Jamie Faulkner to the show, and she will be here with the president of CHSN, so he'll be able to answer any questions you have about the network. Now, keep in mind, these things are fluid. They're being worked on all the time. These contracts are being negotiated with your Xfinity, your Hulu, your YouTube, Fubo, wherever you get your streaming. CHSN and the teams are working their asses off to get these deals done. They want their product in as many homes as possible, because even the cynic would admit the more people that can see it, the more sales revenue they're going to get, the more money they're going to make, and that's what matters. So that's going to be fun. Tomorrow at 2:30, we're going to do our very, very best to get all of your questions answered. So it should be a good time. Jamie Faulkner and Jason Coyle from CHSN will be here answering your questions. And yes, we will ask Jamie Faulkner about cup holders at the United Center, so our long national nightmare can maybe not be over, but at least addressed.
Yes.
So that's tomorrow at 2:30. Set a reminder. Don't miss it. And hopefully as the season goes on, we'll be doing a lot more of these in-studio guests and everything like that. So I went ahead last week and I ordered a digital antenna. It's still in the box. It was $34. It has 5-star reviews across the board. So I've got it if we need it. But hopefully by next week, some sort of deal is struck with one of the major distributors around here. For most people, it's Xfinity. But I know a lot of people stream their television through Hulu, YouTube TV, whatever. So hopefully they'll do what they can to get through those deals. I will say, did a little bit of research on the DirecTV thing. It's more expensive than YouTube TV or Hulu or whatever, and it requires a 2-year agreement. So if you don't already have DirecTV, you might want to hold out. I don't know. But go get one of those digital antennas. It's going to cost you a few bucks, but it's a one-time fee.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I got a feeling by the time the games start for real, the channel will be on whatever service you already have.
Yes. And we should actually update next Wednesday, home game. That will be broadcast on Blackhawks.com. The next two, Friday, Saturday against the Blues and Red Wings, I forget the order. Or is it the Wild?
I think it's Red Wings, Blues.
Red Wings, yeah. Those games are not being broadcast anywhere except the radio. However, we will still have post-game shows on those nights. So we will keep you abreast of everything that happened in those preseason games. We're going to be listening on the radio as well. We're going to be talking to the people that are there to try to paint the best picture we can for you. But we will be doing post-game shows for every game, and that includes Wednesday's preseason opener home, and then Friday and Saturday's road games. We'll be here. So count on us after every damn Hawks game. All right, let's spend a little more time on the practices today. Luke Richardson, at the end of the year, as you mentioned earlier, Greg said, practice with a little more intensity, maybe shorter practices, but more intense. Saw that today. As soon as that clock hit 11 for Group C, it was fast moving. There was very little downtime. You saw guys, even after drills, were doing like kind of mini, we used to call them gassers in football, ladders, whatever, going blue line to blue line to red line. Just kind of keeping that endurance going, a constant stream of motion, and they were done after 45 minutes or so. A nice, tidy 45 that's intense is probably a little more valuable than an hour 20 of skating around, talking, standing still.
Business-like.
Yes.
Get what you need to get done. If it only takes 30 minutes, it only takes 30 minutes, and then you can be like Connor Bedard and stay on the ice for another 2 hours and shooting pucks on your own.
He was still out there,
but he's probably still out there. But yeah, it was like that first group, including the 25-minute scrimmage, was only an hour practice. Second group was done before noon, and they started at 11. So a quicker practice, which is good. I mean, that might also have something to do with its first day. Get your conditioning up, get your legs. Even though most of these guys have been skating for weeks already. I mean, for these guys nowadays, there really is no off season. It's not like, there used to be where guys would like quit smoking and start skating 2 weeks before training camp after they've been, doing nothing all off season. Now these guys are on the ice 365 days a year. So, but yeah, that was a noticeable difference. Not a lot of downtime. Just get out, do your thing, and go. And if that's the thing all season, I mean, that's a good thing. It shows you that Luke is willing to adapt. Was given a suggestion by his veteran leaders, and he's going to go with it, and we'll see how that works.
Well, I think, Luke is a guy who is a first-time head coach, too, and learning on the fly, and he's never really, until last season, I mean, he had Taves and Kane his first year, but I don't know how interested those guys were in being like, hey, coach, we know you're a first-time guy here. Let's do this instead. You don't kind of want to undermine your coach in that way. But I think it was sort of the perfect storm of last year's team where you bring Foligno in who can say, hey, all right, see what you tried. Now we've gone through 82 games and, our compete level wasn't there 82 times last year. That's for damn sure. Here's maybe some of the thoughts behind that, and I think Luke took it to heart. So it's good to see. You want a guy who is coachable, even a coach that can take constructive feedback. It's not like Nick Foligno or the leadership group went in there and was like, you suck. These practices are terrible. You're an idiot. This is what you need to do, and like slam down a list of orders. But the way you get things done is through diplomacy, right? Talk to your leaders, talk to guys who have won before and say, all right, what do we need to do to get this thing going in the right direction? It's a huge part of why Nick Foligno was named the captain. We're going to get to that in a little bit, but I love the fact that Luke Richardson is pliable and willing to make some changes if he thinks it's the right thing to do.
This is only his third year being a head coach. This isn't like John Tortorella or Joe Quenneville, who has the long resume of success to where he can lean back and say, well, this is how I did it when I won all those Stanley Cups, so I'm not changing. He's learning too. This is a different roster than he's ever. It's the most talented roster he's ever had since being here. So, it's a good start. We'll see how that affects the season going forward.
Yeah. Let's get a little bit into the Foligno thing because we're not sure how long the Luke Richardson's going to be. I really like the fact that before Foligno spoke and even before he started making his own comments, everyone took a moment to say something about Jonathan Taves. And the one comment that really stood out to me was from Nick Foligno himself when asked if he'd spoken to Taves yet. He said, quote, I reached out to him. We haven't connected yet. I want to talk to him and have that conversation. I know what he's meant to this organization. He's the pillar this organization stands on. I love that quote. That is sounds like it was written by one of Obama's speechwriters. Like, that is a perfect way to say it. And it's sincere. I think everything that comes from Nick Foligno is sincere based on the limited time we've got to spend with him and conversations we've had with him. He believes that. And look, why would you not reach out to Jonathan Toews and talk to him and get him out of Burning Man, get him off the waves, and get him on the phone?
He said he reached out to him but hadn't connected because I think Johnny lost his phone at Burning Man and
Might be.
hasn't got a new one, or he's still out in the desert somewhere taking a nap.
Yeah, it's just good to hear that. And you also heard from Kyle Davidson had a lot to say about him. I'm trying to find the quote here. Sorry. He said, quote, "The leadership Toews has displayed has truly redefined the blueprint of what a great captain can be. His legacy is second to none. We can't thank him enough for the incredible foundation he laid." That's Kyle Davidson. And Danny Wirtz said Jonathan Toews is a perfect embodiment of a captain. Really good stuff. All the right things were said. And just Foligno clearly seems honored to have this role and is definitely taking it seriously.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less. He knows, he played against those Blackhawk teams. He was in the league when the Blackhawks were dominating and were the model franchise. He played against Jonathan Toews in his prime multiple times. He knows what that's like. He knows, and he even said that he was like, there's no shoes to be filled. Like, I'm not here to be Jonathan Toews. Nobody's going to be able to do that. I'm going to do it I'm going to do it the way I do it. So he knows the importance, and he knows, what the last captain meant to this franchise and still means to this franchise. So, very humble, but again, exactly what you expect, even the dad joke, asking if his hair looked good in the pictures, don't go changing just because you got a captain, a C on your sweater. But, as we talked about yesterday's show, it's the perfect choice. It makes sense. And it's going to work.
Yeah. And Kyle Davidson was asked, what does it mean to you to have a guy who can reach out and talk to free agents and influence them positively towards the organization? He basically said, Nick knows everybody. Yeah. He's played with a lot of people. He's played against a lot of people. Everyone respects him. So it's kind of an added perk to having Nick Foligno on the team is having a guy who's got that ability and has that Rolodex, for young people. A Rolodex used to be a thing that you'd keep on your desk and had index cards, and you'd flip through and find the phone number. Now it's the contacts in your phone. An index card. That's interesting. An index card, Joey, is a piece of cardboard and would have little notches cut out so you could put it in the Rolodex so you could flip through it easily.
A pen is what we used to write with ink.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you heard the term Rolodex before?
Yeah, it's like it spins, right? You flip it.
Yeah.
It rolls.
If you watch any movie from the 80s where there's an office scene, you'll see a Rolodex.
Yeah, you flip through it.
Yeah. So rolling
index. Honestly, it seems more fun than the contact page.
It definitely
I think that we should make a shift back towards stuff like that you could spin and hold. That's fun.
I'm down for that.
Maybe I'm a child, though. A toddler.
You are a child. That's why we're explaining what a Rolodex is to you.
Exactly. There are a lot of times on my trivia nights where I'll have to, I'll ask a question about a magazine. I go, see, a magazine, kids, was kind of like...
It's like a book, but smaller.
It's like a website, but on paper.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of clicking to get to the next page, you had to flip over to the next page.
Yeah. While we're shamelessly promoting things, Godfather CHGO says, big year for Richardson. Can he get his team ready for most nights? I wrote about my top storylines of the preseason of training camp. That's one of them. Check it out at allchgo.com. That is a diehard only piece. So become a diehard today at allchgo.com. You'll save 20% on all of our events, merch, everything. Get a free shirt or hat, access to our great written content, and access to our members only Discord. We were hitting up the Discord today during practice, sharing some up-to-the-minute stuff. We'll keep that going as training camp goes on. We're hoping to hear from Luke Richardson soon. I know Mario is sending that in. It's a big file, presumably, so we're waiting on that. But before we do, we want to tell you about our friends at Indeed. That's like a Rolodex for people who are hiring. See, it all comes together. Indeed is driven by the search for better. When it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. I had a short time at WBBM Radio as a manager who had to hire people, and when I asked them, hey, how'd you hear about this job? I would say 9 out of 10 of them said Indeed, and I was kind of blown away by that. They leverage over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day. Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use it, the better it gets. Listeners of this show can get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Before you hit the road this fall, head to Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram and start your adventure there this September. Shop new lower prices across their huge inventory during Jeep Adventure Days going on right now. For limited time, lease the brand new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo for just $239 a month for 27 months, or shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. Let the amazing team at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram help you during each step of your car shopping journey. With Ray's Price Promise, the numbers you're hearing now are the same prices you can expect to shop in-store and online. That's because Ray's Price Promise means no price changing, new add-ons, and no hidden fees. Since they prioritize affordability for their customers, hurry in the Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram today and shop one of the Chicago's largest inventories. Then drive home with more money in your pocket than you'd expect. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and
Ram,
because they're the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. Serving the community since 1963.
All right. You were telling me today during practice that some people need us to whiteboard some of our recurring bits.
Yes. That was actually...
a whiteboard, by the way, is a thing that you would have in an office. You'd use a dry erase marker on it.
Turn the camera around. We got one in there.
Exactly.
We had in our diehard mailbag channel on Discord, someone said maybe before the season starts, kind of go over your running bits so new viewers would know. So
we'll do that.
We could do that.
We'll make a plan.
You mentioned the Mackenzie Entwistle no parents thing. That one's that's retired. He's not a. We'll bring that up when they play the Panthers twice this season. Otherwise, that's our first retired bit.
Yes.
R.I.P. But we'll go over the Joey
this
Anderson
idea. Love this.
Yeah, Joey Anderson, the Pudwackistan.
Yep.
We got some stuff.
We never got to debut the map of Pudwackistan.
Well, it's a new season.
Yeah.
Keep that, under our hats. We might be able to resurrect that idea for this season.
All right, got an update on tomorrow's practice. If you're going out there, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., teams B and C practice. That sounds like a scrimmage. Yep. So if you're looking for that, do that. Then Team A practices from 11 to 12:15, and then Kyle Davidson will speak tomorrow at 1. So we will have full-blown Kyle Davidson for you on tomorrow's show. So don't miss that. It's going to be a big one.
Kyle Davidson, Jamie Faulkner. Wow, that's a heck of a show.
I don't know. We're probably not going to be able to play the whole Kyle Davidson with Jamie here, but we'll see what we can do. We'll bring back the highlights, and everything will be on social media that you need to do, and we will always post important press conferences like that. We always put the full thing up on YouTube. A couple other thoughts on Foligno, and just, kind of previewing these comments from Luke Richardson. It seems like a lot of no nonsense happening right now. Like it seems a little more business-like than before. Here's a quote that stood out to me from Foligno today. Quote, "We're going to have a standard that is expected to be met every day. If you don't, you're going to hear about it." Look, Nick Foligno can be team dad. He can be the happy-go-lucky, put his arm around you kind of a guy too. But with that also, and with that C on his sweater, comes the responsibility to come down hard on guys when it needs to happen. And it feels like, going back and listening to the end of season press conferences as I was writing my preseason preview yesterday, that accountability was a bit of an issue. And it was felt that way kind of from the top down. that guys who were slacking and guys that weren't committed to doing what they were supposed to be doing, be it, hey, you're a guy, you think you're on the top 6, but you're not. You got to play that role. It feels like some of the accountability wasn't there, and that could explain the once a week, twice a week games where you're like, the puck dropped and his team was not ready to go. And by the time they were ready to go, they're losing 3-0, and they don't have the ability to come back from 3-0.
Right.
Hopefully, and it feels like from day one, that intensity is being addressed right away.
Sounds like it. And according to some of the quotes from Luke Richardson, the expectation was you're going to come into camp in shape, ready to go, and play with pace. And he loved what he saw. That I think that scrimmage right off the bat was exactly what he was looking for. Like, you guys should be ready. This is day one. We're not going to use the first week of camp to get in the hockey shape. You're going to show up in hockey shape, ready to go, and prove it. And a lot of guys looked great out there. As we said, Taylor Hall looked good. There was one shift where he was just terrorizing Alec Martinez.
Yes, he was.
Forced him in a turnover. Martinez got the puck again, and he just came up from behind him, lifted his stick, took it again. You could kind of see Martinez going, dude, it's my first day. You're embarrassing me out here. Like, he looked good. Andreas Athanasiou,
Mid-season form,
mid-season form, twice got himself, used his speed and his hands to get around a defender to create one-on-one opportunities with the goalie. You might not believe this when I tell you this, but he didn't score in either one of those chances. But he didn't fall down.
He did not fall down. He got the shot off.
That was more of Colin Blackwell's bit, though, was the fall down.
Yeah, the fall down was Colin Blackwell, for sure.
But, again, it was
he
like...
blew by DJ King.
Yeah.
I think I was like, whoa.
See ya, nipple, baby.
It's like Back to the Future flames, and DJ King is on fire.
And then got stoned by Arvid Soderblom.
Yeah. Or Mitchell Weeks. I forget who it was at the time.
Does it matter?
No, not really.
But it's encouraging to see that he looks like, the hamstring injury that pretty much cost him his whole season last year, or groin, whichever it was, maybe both. He seems to be completely healthy from that. See how long the healthiness lasts. His track record is not great on that, but that was encouraging to see. You know what you're getting out of him. You're going to get those frustrating where you're like, oh my God, we got a breakaway. Ah, crap, it's Andreas Athanasiou.
Right.
He'll
put something in. If
he will. He scored 20%. He scored 20 goals 2 years ago.
And his speed is going to create opportunities on its own that maybe wouldn't be out there otherwise, right? Like, he is just that fast that he's going to get those chances.
Maybe this year with better line mates, there'll actually be somebody following up to get the rebound and score an easy goal. We'll see what happens. But those guys stuck out. We also talked about Craig Smith, how he stuck out. Those guys, those were the most impressive three, I think, just from that little bit of scrimmage. Connor Bedard is Connor Bedard. He looks ready to go. Tyler Bertuzzi, nothing... with scrimmages, it's still hard. Like, Tyler Bertuzzi's not going to go into the corner full speed against his own teammates. And there was a nice play that stuck out by Isaac Phillips. He's one of those bubble guys, a guy that's, brought back on a 1-year deal. He probably sees the writing on the wall with all these other young defensemen. Like, hey, with Levshinov out, I got to use this as an opportunity. If not here, maybe somewhere else. Maybe this season is my audition. Maybe the Blackhawks want to make a move after camp and somebody falls in love with Isaac Phillips. But he made a nice play where he actually took Connor Bedard off the puck and got it quickly up the ice, right in the middle of the ice. Bedard came in the zone entry and he bumped him, got him off the lodge, dislodged him from the puck, and quickly got it up the ice out of the zone.
Then what happened? Samuel Savoie scored a breakaway goal.
Exactly. So got the secondary assist on a goal that actually doesn't count, but it was a nice play to see from him, a good start. And those are like the little types of plays where for a kid like that gets you confidence. You're like, man, if I could take the puck off of Connor Bedard's stick, I can take it off of anybody's stick.
Yeah. So there was a technical glitch with the Luke Richardson audio, so we're not going to be able to play it. So I'm going to read some of the comments here, and they really focus on the intensity here. Ben Pope tweets out, Luke Richardson said he told the players to come to camp in shape because they'd be starting off with scrimmages right away. Quote, the pace up and down was excellent. We're going to push that for the next couple of days. So it does indeed sound like there will be a scrimmage tomorrow at 10 a.m. So if you've got your ticket, your free ticket, show up and be ready for a scrimmage. If I don't know if there's tickets left, but check the Hawks website. You never know. Scott Powers said Luke Richardson said the timelines for Levshinov and Brossois haven't changed. He said Levshinov has been working out in the gym. And where's the other one that really stood out to me here from Luke Richardson? I can't find it. I will keep looking for
I can't find it.
That's frustrating. I had been looking at it for a long time, and now I can't find it. I don't know. Nick says, was Reichel noticeable? He didn't stand out.
I noticed he's got a new number.
Yeah, but not like in a bad way. He just didn't have any moments where, I don't know. There's nothing that concerned me, I would say, but it's just.
You're not going to make declarations one way or the other.
No.
From this. Did he have any mind-blowing plays you're like, holy crap? No. But did he do anything that where you were like, oh, he's. So it was normal. We didn't notice Lucas Reichel was out there. So midseason form again.
Here's the quote. I found it. This is from Mark Lazarus. Luke Richardson didn't do laps with the players at the end of practice as he did in past camps. Quote, this is from Luke. You don't need a clown coach skating around in a tracksuit doing a few laps when he didn't do anything before, where they all worked for an hour before that. It's all business this year. Now, this got my attention because did someone say something to him about that? Like, hey, dude, why are you skating with us? Don't skate laps with us. Like, we're the ones out here working.
Maybe.
I don't think so.
Doubt it. I mean, maybe Foligno was like, that's a clown move, bro.
I don't know. I thought it was cool that he was out there. Like, I don't know. I can't imagine he got negative feedback. Maybe we'll ask him that next time we talk to him. Like, hey, I want to follow up on that. Like, did someone say something to you about that? Because I always thought that was kind of a unique, cool thing that Luke did. It wasn't like he was showboating or trying to beat them in races or anything. He was just out there skating laps while they were.
Yeah, I don't know. But I guess, if I mean all business now, I can't be out there having fun with you guys. I got to be Mr. Serious Business. It was different, but new year, new Luke.
Hey, you know what? I'm here for it. Not that it was bad before, but I just I like the vibe from day one. And there was an intensity to things today. From the scrimmage, I think scrimmages just in general are going to be intense because you've got a lot of guys trying to make an impression. And I think the fact that, as Mario wrote about for ALLCHGO.com, like Frank Nazar noticed that he was on a line with Nick Lardis, who's heading back to the OHL, and Colton Dock, who's likely headed back to Rockford. These little messages that the coaches can send to someone like Frank Nazar to say, like, you are not as guaranteed a spot as you think you might be. You're going to have to earn it. And putting him on a line like that indicates that. And Ryan Donato playing with Anderson and Slager, two more guys that might get sent down to Rockford when the season begins. Is that a message? I don't know. But there's just a different feel about it this year. It's, I would say, maybe more than professionalism and intensity that's there. That's, I said that backwards. Instead of an intensity, a professionalism that's there. You've got these guys who have been there before, who have done it before. And yeah, you still have a good crop of young players, but it's not, half a dozen guys that maybe don't even belong in the league. Everybody that's going to make this roster this year is an NHL player.
And that raises expectations. And Seth Jones, this quote came from him, courtesy of Mario, who's covering it for us. We want to win more hockey games than last year. We want to play meaningful games after New Year into March and April. We want to get to the level of consistency where even if you lose, you like what you did in the game.
Exactly.
That's from Seth Jones. That's like, I think a guy like that can walk into day one of training camp, look around the room and go, okay, this is much better than anything I've seen in the past. And, he's going to be a big part of the team's success or failures. He's got those expectations. He's being paid to be a difference-making number one defenseman. On a lot of nights, he is. But he's got consistency issues, too. Like, he can point the finger at himself, and he'll admit it. That especially early on in these last 2 seasons, it seems like Seth has tried to do everything at once.
Trying to do too much.
And then by, like, December, realizes just go out and play your own game, and things pick up. I think getting Alex Vlasic as his partner, likely partner, that's not, but I'm sure that's the way it's going to be.
Probably, yes.
Knowing you have Alex Vlasic, who you were so good with the second half of the season last year from day one, I think that is going to be huge for Seth Jones. I think we're going to see a real nice offensive uptick in his production this season.
I hope so. He also went through kind of an unsustainable slump of just pucks not going in for him. That'll change. But just, what is it? Rising tides raise all ships. Is that the correct raise all boats? Well, ships and boats are the same thing, Joey.
Yeah.
Jeez. A Rolodex is a rolling index.
All of a sudden, we got an aquatic expert over here.
Captain Steve Zissou over here.
Schooner is a sailboat, stupid head.
But the point is that just an improved roster is going to make everything better. It's going to take a mental load and a physical load, frankly, off Seth Jones. I don't think we're going to see Seth Jones playing 24 minutes a night every freaking night anymore this year.
Probably not.
I don't think
he
so.
will on some of those games.
Sure, yeah.
They have games where it's tied or they're trying to protect a 1-goal lead. He'll probably be out there, but hopefully there'll be some nights where he doesn't have to play. Maybe you got a 3-0 lead in the third period, or 2-goal, 3-goal lead, and you don't have to play him out, or you're not constantly chasing from behind, so you have to put him out there because last year was really the only defenseman that could give you anything offensively. So yeah, hopefully they can, Luke can play more matchups now and play more of a rotation. If this team stays healthy, you don't have to try and hide guys like Tenorti and Megna, pick their spots where you're going to play those guys.
Yeah.
So they don't kill you, but they seem to do that anyway. This is going to be a different season for the guys behind the bench in their rotations, in their roster. Their lineup construction from night to night might change. You could actually play matchups now. When you got a big team in, you want Pat Maroon out there.
Right.
But maybe he doesn't fit well when a smaller, speedier team, the New Jersey Devils come to town. You probably want a little more speed out there. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works, where instead of going from, well, I've got 12 guys who own a pair of skates, and those are the 12 guys that have to skate tonight, to, I could actually play the matchups, and I could put a little more strategy based on what this team can and can't do that we're facing tonight, as opposed to please just go out there and not embarrass yourself.
Yes. Real quick, top of your head, over under minutes per game for Seth Jones last year, 24.5, more or less.
Less, but not by much.
This is his average, 25-29.
Oh, last year's. Oh,
that was his average. Oh, okay, yeah. His average ice time last year, 25-29. The year before, 24-27. His first year with the Hawks, he averaged 26-13 of ice time.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So even if he's under 25 minutes a night, it's going to be and
it's weird because he gets better as the year goes on, it seems.
Yeah, at least the last 2 years.
Yeah.
At least he stopped worrying so much about, doing everything defensively. It hurt his offensive game.
Well, we saw it especially that first year of okay, I need to live up to this contract. Dude, you got the contract, be it $1 million too much, whatever. That's not the discussion right now. But you earned that money by being who you have been. So continue to be that guy. Don't try to be more. You don't need to be more because you're getting paid more, right? So, I don't know. The other thing, too, as we've been discussing over the last few days of this week about roster construction, who's going to go up, who's going to go down. With the context of the quotes and the feel of practice day, it does make a lot more sense. this is a team that is now focused on improving. It's not about, well, we know we're going to lose a lot, and if we lose, it's not the end of the world as long as like guys are getting better and it's learning experiences. This year, it feels like we are trying to win games. And I think they know they're not a playoff team. They obviously know there's not a Stanley Cup contender, but they're going to be in the better majority of 82 games this year than they have been for a while, probably 2 or 3 years. So now that you see, okay, Luke's talking about business, Foligno's talking about business. I'm sure we're going to hear it tomorrow from Kyle Davidson as well. Now the context of Smith and Maroon and Martinez and Brody and all these guys, they make a lot more sense in that context, I feel like. Because it feels like that there's a little bit of a shift from developmental only or compete only, and now you're sort of in that middle ground where development still matters, but I think most of their development is going to happen at the AHL level this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's there for. This is really the first time ever that the Rockford IceHogs is truly a developmental team.
Yeah.
I mean, it was last year to a degree.
Yeah.
But this year you have so many guys that are going to be looked upon to be contributors at the NHL level. During the Cup years, you never had it. It was just like, let's fill out this roster with, some AHL veterans and Jeremy Morin. Brendan Peary could play all year down there. There wasn't, here's Dylan Olsen until we trade him, and here's Mark McNeil until we trade him.
God, please stop.
Yeah. But now you have guys that like actually mean something, and you have, you're going to have for sure Paul Ludwinski and Gavin Hayes down there, their first years. Levchinov is going to be playing down there. Drew Comezzo's second year. Likely Colton Dock. Possibly leaning a little more towards likely Frank Nazar. Kevin Korchinski might be down there for some time. Like, these are all guys that are important to the future. These are guys that got drafted and are being developed to be contributors on Stanley Cup contending teams. So, yeah, and the way Kyle Davidson put together this roster was to make sure you're not repeating the sins of the past, where you're bringing up guys too early.
Right.
And then they get in over their head, and then they, let them over marinate in the AHL before slapping them on the grill that is the NHL.
Yes. Okay, one more note on the Hawks. It looks like, according to the media release, that we will have some player availability tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing how Korchinski looks physically, how Bedard looks physically. Elliot Friedman said that he thought Bedard looked bigger, thicker, firmer, in Anders Sorensen's words. I want to see how they look, how their physical growth has changed over the course of the year. Lucas Reichel, too, who looks more like a tennis player than a hockey player. Not his fault. It's not that he's not working out, but he's lean. He's a thin guy. I want to see who is filled out, and I'm looking forward to talking to some of the new guys
here
too.
All summer. We'd get
Actually, for me, the regular season is harder. It's just too many late night fast food.
Well, no, yeah. I just mean, if we would have definitely taken them around to the good places to put on that extra weight.
Yeah,
but,
Lana Del Rey tacos.
Yes,
we'll
but
take them there.
the regular season is a lot harder. It's harder on the body for us.
Yes, 100%. We do have some around the league news to share too. I quizzed Greg today at Lana Del Rey Tacos at who is the captain of the Anaheim Ducks. You said Cam Fowler, which would make sense because he's been there since the inception of the organization, seemingly. But no, it's Radko Gudas, who I forgot was a Duck last year.
That's a choice. That's a choice.
Interesting. Also, Victor Hedman, captain of the Lightning. Makes all the sense in the world.
Perfect choice.
Moritz Seider gets a new contract. So the two big restricted free agents for the Red Wings, Seider and Raymond, are locked up. Seider gets 4 years, $8.55. Good deal for him. Lucas Raymond got 4 years, $8.075 million.
Oh, now he's going to have to do the same thing with these two guys at the same time again.
Yeah, that's
kind of surprised one of those guys didn't get a fifth year just to kind of.
Well, Dylan Larkin will be a free agent then too. So it's all UFA, Larkin, Raymond, and Sider at the same time.
Eiserman probably says, let that be someone else's problem in 4 years.
Larkin will be 32. Raymond will be 26. Sider will be 27.
They still won't have made the playoffs by then.
Dude.
Did you see their goaltending list?
Delights me.
They've got like 12 goalies, and like none of them are waiver exempt.
They're the same guys. Ville Husso, Cam Talbot, and Alex Lyon are the same 3 people.
And then they've got Sebastian Coso, who they drafted in the first round a couple years ago.
Yes. Carter Gielander. Not Nylander. Gielander. Gage Alexander, that's not a real person. And Jack Campbell.
I forgot. Jack Campbell's there too.
It's a lot. It's a lot of not good.
It's a lot of mediocrity in your goalie room. Other news that actually affects the Blackhawks in the Central Division is was announced yesterday. Jason Robertson's going to be missing some time.
Yeah.
He had surgery on July 31st and is supposed to miss first 2 months of the season, 6-8 weeks before he's going to start skating again. So that's a big loss for the Stars, but better at the beginning of the year than come playoff time. But that's a big move there. Big loss for the Stars to start the year. And
wait, I think I'm wrong here. I'm looking at Puckpedia has this wrong. My bad. Okay, it was 7 years for Sider and
8 for Raymond.
8
right?
for Raymond.
Okay.
That makes a lot more
All right.
sense. I thought I had seen that, and then
Was that their
Puckpedia messed me up.
All right.
But okay, that's much more manageable for Steve Eiserman.
Yes.
But thank you for the clarification, Steve Smart, on the chat. My bad.
That's why it's not just a clever name. He's
Right.
actually smarter than
I
we
am
are.
Jay Dumb. He is Steve Smart.
And the Jeremy Swayman thing is there were some reports flying around early in the day yesterday that a deal was done, but it was a report that was retweeted by someone I trusted, by someone who was full of crap. So there was Don Sweeney. He is GMing himself right out of a job the way he's handled that.
It's really bad.
He lost all leverage in those negotiations the second he traded Linus Ullmark away. If you were hell-bent on trading him, sign Swayman first.
Yes, handle the first thing first.
And then trade Ullmark away. Because if you're having this problem now, you're like, that's all right. We've got Vezina Trophy winning Linus Ullmark. We don't need you, Jeremy. But now Jeremy's like, you need me.
You absolutely need me.
And if you want to keep your job, Mr. Sweeney, you got to give me exactly what I want.
The Bruins goalie situation
is bad.
Korpisalo, if they don't get Swayman signed, will be their starter.
Listen, if the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Ottawa Senators are okay at moving on from you, you're not a good goaltender.
Something named Kazimir Kaskisuo
Gesundheit
is not signed, but on the roster.
He's holding out as well for more money.
Might as well. And then they've got Michael DiPietro and Brandon Bussey down in the minors. I don't know. I'd imagine so. So good luck with that. But the worst news of the day, it's finally happened. This is our last year. Even though it's not the NHL, Jaromir Jagr is retiring after this season.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Me too. Because basically what he said was he's only playing to keep Klondo in business. Like, his presence is keeping the team afloat. Maybe when Atlanta expands, they'll get Jaromir Jagr to keep them going.
I don't know. I'd like to see him play to the end of time.
I love the guy.
He is.
Die on the ice of natural causes.
Friend of the show.
That's right.
Jaromir Jagr.
We're the only people talking to you in the hallways of the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center.
Yeah.
Come on. All right, we're going to be back tomorrow at 2:30. Reminder with Jamie Faulkner. Boy, I cannot remember the name. It's killing me. Jason Coyle of CHSN. There you go. So don't miss that show, 2:30. We're also going to hear from Kyle Davidson tomorrow, so you're not going to want to miss that. Want to remind you before we wrap things up, become a CHGO diehard. Now is the time if you've been waiting, because business is about to pick up with hockey season starting. You want to be in our members-only Discord, where we're going to be active every single game, chatting with you directly during the games. You also get first dibs on our Mailbag Monday shows. You get a free shirt or hat at sign up. You save 20% at store.allcitynetwork.com on all All City gear, DNVR, DLLS, PHLY, PHNX, us, everybody. You save 20% and 20% on all of our events, takeovers, tailgates, all that great stuff, including our takeover party at Joe's this Sunday. Joe's on weed with the Bears for Bears Colts. So join us tomorrow, 2:30, right here on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.